Thank you, Mr. Brandish. Well, ladies, now I want to make quite clear that I'm not speaking to you here this morning as President of the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders or as Vice Chairman of any manufacturing organization. I'm speaking as a private, God-fearing, tax-paying, law-abiding citizen who wants freedom to travel and go about his lawful duties as he's a perfect right to do. And in planning this demonstration in the heart of Coventry, every effort has been made to see that it doesn't interfere in any way with the normal business activities of your city, and that it doesn't conflict with the spirit of self-discipline which we all have to display at this critical time in our history. But, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, I honestly believe that the restoration of the basic petrol ration would help the country and not hinder it. If I didn't believe that, I shouldn't be standing here this morning recommending such a thing. Now, the overwhelming majority of motor car users affected by the abolition of the basic petrol ration are people of small or moderate means who run a motor car almost entirely for domestic or utilitarian purposes. To call those people pleasure motorists is frankly absurd and nonsense. They've neither the money nor the time these days to afford in any unnecessary indulgence. They use a car to ease the burdens of an austerity existence which otherwise is going to be well nigh intolerable. People who've got to take their children many miles to school by car, people who must shop by car or be at the mercy of an erratic, infrequent and entirely inadequate bus service, women in isolated homes, frequently old women who can get no help in the house whatever and have to feed and look after large families, men who fought for their country for 5 years, have saved up money to buy a car, and now, after waiting 2 years for it, have taken delivery and paid the government £150 in purchase tax, only to hold up their car and not be allowed to use it at all. A small hotel. Now, how many ex-servicemen who faced death to save us and who came out of the forces to put their whole savings into little businesses like those now confronted with the stark prospect of bankruptcy? They risked death, and now their living is signed away simply by a stroke of a pen in some government office. No, gentlemen, we've got to fight to get some, at least, of our petrol ration restored. We've got to fight on behalf of those people who fought for us, and on behalf of those housewives and wage earners who are constantly fighting these days to scratch together the bare bones of an austere existence. But we're louder than factions. And let me conclude by reminding you of a few facts that support our case. The saving of the £7.5 million which the government estimates will result from the abolition of the basic petrol ration will be seriously offset by the increase in supplementary rations which will have to be made. And a further point, if the flood of the applications for supplementary rations are properly dealt with fairly as they ought to be, they must inevitably add to the already inflated ranks of the civil service, and already there's too much bureaucracy in this country. I respectfully suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we've enough unproductive workers in the country as it is, without adding to them. There's no doubt the government in this decision was concerned about the extent of the black market in petrol. I agree with them. We don't want any long-distance black market joyriding. But I submit to you that that kind of thing will become worse now, more than better, because the more you attempt to control and restrict the people's freedom unreasonably, the greater lengths they will go to evade those restrictions. When our airmen were being shot out of the sky, when the seamen were being torpedoed in no basic, more spibs. Now, the committee represents 5 million owners and users of motor cars and motorcycles, and it recommends a 50% reduction of the basic petrol allowance to show the government a saving of £3.75 million. And it also recommends cuts in all other uses of imported petrols by an average of 20%, which would show a saving of £5.25 million, making £9 million in all, and that's the figure required by the government. We must do everything in our power, gentlemen, to press for these revisions. The people of this country are entitled to a fair reconsideration of their case, and by showing an open-minded attitude in this matter, the government have nothing to lose but everything to gain. And
you think this service will be capable of coping with several problems? Hello everybody, here is Coventry's protest procession against the abolition of basic petrol. No compromise.
And, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to take a stand against the abolition of the basic petrol ration. I say that with very careful consideration because we in the motor industry are realists, and at this moment of our country's very grave economic peril, no serious-minded one among us would wish to recommend any scatterbrained proposal that was likely to do anything to retard the nation's recovery.